Imagine finding a coin in your change that looks a little older, the kind you might flip over in your hand and think, this one feels different. That's the story with the 1957 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that at first glance seems ordinary, but when you dive into its history and value, it's anything but boring. The 1957 nickel is part of the Jefferson series, which began in 1938 and still continues today, making it one of the longest-running designs in American coinage. The obverse, or front side, features the left-facing portrait of our third president, Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag's design was chosen through a competition back in the late 1930s, and his image of Jefferson has become iconic. Around the portrait, you'll find the motto, "In God We Trust," on the left, "Liberty" on the right, and of course, the date 1957, followed by the mint mark, if there is one. Flip the coin over, and you'll see Jefferson's famous home Monticello right in the center. Above it is the word E pluribus, unum, and below it are the inscriptions, 5 cents, in United States of America. The design is simple, yet classic, and it has stood the test of time for decades. Now, in 1957, these nickels were struck at two different mints, Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark, and Denver, which used a small D mint mark to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Philadelphia produced about 38 million coins, while Denver struck over 136 million, making the D coins much more common today. So if you find a 1957 nickel, chances are good it has a little D on the back. But here's the thing, when we talk about old coins, we're not just talking about metal, we're talking about history. The year 1957 was a fascinating time in America. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, Elvis Presley was at the top of the charts, and Sputnik had just been launched, kicking off the space race. The average new car cost around $2,500, a gallon of gas was about 24 cents, and people still carried coins everywhere, because cash was king. Your 1957 nickel may have bought a newspaper, a Coke, or even gone into a jukebox to play rock and roll. Talk about value, because that's what collectors really want to know. The 1957 nickel is mostly made of copper and nickel, so it doesn't have any silver like some other coins of the era. That means the value comes from condition and collectability, not precious metal. In circulated grades, meaning coins that have been used in everyday commerce, a 1957 nickel is usually worth between 10 and 25 cents. Not exactly retirement money, but still a nice little upgrade from face value. However, things get much more interesting when you find coins in higher grades. An uncirculated example, one that never saw a cash register or pocket, can be worth a few dollars. And if you have a coin graded mint state with full steps on Monticello, that's where the tiny lines on the building's steps are completely visible. It can be worth much more. Collectors love those full-step nickels, and they pay top dollar for them. In fact, some high-grade 1957D nickels with full steps have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Errors and varieties also make this coin exciting. Like many coins of the 1950s, the 1957 nickel can sometimes be found with die cracks, repunched mint, or other small mistakes that happen during the minting process. These errors can increase a coin's value significantly, depending on how dramatic they are. So if you have one, it's worth giving it a careful look with a magnifying glass. Now, let's say you happen to own a 1957 nickel that looks especially nice. Where do you go to sell it? The first option is always your local coin shop. Dealers are experienced and they can give you an honest idea of what your coin is worth. Coin shows are another great place to sell or trade, since they're full of collectors looking for specific dates and varieties. For a wider audience, online auction sites like eBay or larger numismatic auction houses are excellent choices. Just remember, if your coin looks like it could be rare or high grade, it's worth sending it to a grading service like PCG's or NGC. Having it certified gives buyers confidence, and that usually means more money in your pocket. At the end of the day, the 1957 Jefferson Nickel is a reminder that even ordinary pocket change has a story to tell. It's a coin that connects us to the late 1950s. To an America that was on the edge of massive cultural and technological change. From jukeboxes and drive-ins to space rockets and Cold War tensions, this little nickel was there through it all. So the next time you come across a 1957 nickel, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up, study Jefferson's portrait, look at and think about all the history this coin has seen. Who knows, it might just be worth more than you think, and even if it isn't, you'll be holding a tiny piece of the American story in the palm of your hand.